Welcome everybody to Redirect and Reward, ironically enough, as Amazon is coming to my house to talk about how to solve any behavior problem, one of which is barking. But the caveat to that is, please don't get me wrong, barking is a good thing. They're doing their job. Okay, they're saying, hey, Amazon guy, there's a dog in here. So if you're going to mess around, don't do it here, do it at the neighbor's house. And they're also telling me, hey, Amazon is here. Maybe it's a Chewy order or something good. So it's a good thing that they bark, but they should shush when I say shush. So boys, it's okay. You're good. Stand down. So when I say I got this, they should stop, okay, which is what we're going to talk about today. Yay! Ironically enough, it's funny how those things happen. So welcome, those of you that don't know me. My name is Cindy Scott. I am a dog trainer, behavioral consultant, have been for the past 30 years. And during that time, I have been obsessed not only with solving problem behaviors, but doing them as easily and effectively and as efficiently as possible. I don't want to do something that's going to take 10 steps when I can do it in 3. And better yet, 1 step is always the best. That's how I cook too. If it takes more than 3 ingredients, I'm out, or 3 steps, I'm out. My husband was doing this cocktail club thing where you do it via Zoom, and they send you all the ingredients, and then they show you how to make all these cocktails. And I came into the kitchen and they were doing like an old fashioned or something. And I'm like, it was like 20 steps. I mean, it was ridiculous how long he was doing it. And I'm like, just take a shot of whiskey and you're done. It's all good. And I'm in the kitchen today, by the way, because the cat is sleeping on my desk. So I can't disturb the cat. So that's why I'm in my kitchen. But okay, so let's get at it. How do you solve any behavior problem? And, people come at me with their laundry list. Sometimes I feel like I'm the complaints department, where they're like, oh, my dog is doing this and my dog is doing that. And how do I stop this? And how do I stop that? Blah, 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 blah. And it all kind of boils down to, what do you want your dog to do? If we stop one behavior, then they're probably going to do another. The easiest way to get rid of a bad habit for us too is to replace it with a good habit. If they're doing the right thing, they're not doing the wrong thing. And that's what we want. If they're sitting, they're not jumping. If they're walking next to you, they're not pulling. And the trap that we humans fall into is we just want to stop things. I don't care, just stop. I want to punish. How do I stop him from jumping? Punish, 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 punish. But the problem with punishment is it doesn't teach the correct behavior. Punishment teaches the organism to avoid punishment. So they will learn. So if the dog... Who's in my house now? What is happening? If the dog jumps on you and then you knee them or you shock them, instead of jumping in front of you, now they'll jump from behind, because the antecedent or the reason for the behavior is the same, which is to get your attention. And why does your dog want your attention? Because he's a dog and they're social creatures. And when you adopt a dog, you become their pack. And that's why we have dogs, I think, is because they are so social and they keep us company. And that's what we want. So instead of punishing the dog for jumping on you, I gave this motion and he jumped. Let's work on sit. If they're sitting, they're not jumping. Okay. So if you come to me and you say, okay, how do I stop my dog from doing blank? The first thing I'm going to ask is, what would you rather have them do? If they're doing the right thing, they're not doing the wrong thing. So please keep that in mind. And if we punish the wrong thing and we don't get rid of the underlying cause for it, which typically is boredom. Usually why they get into trouble and why they misbehave is because they're bored, especially these young active dogs. They don't know what to do with themselves. So that's why they dig, and that's why they, chew things and jump to get your attention. Oh my gosh, the lighting is making me crazy. And even barking. Barking is rewarding. It's self-rewarding. It's fun, I would think. I mean, I know lots of people that just enjoy to hear themselves talk. So I imagine, the dogs enjoy it too. And if dog is bored, that's when they're going to start looking out your front window and watching everybody, and then potentially becoming territorial and barking at everybody that goes by. So it becomes kind of a vicious cycle that happens. So boredom is a huge, I would say almost 90% cause of behavior issues. So your first step is always exercise your dog. A tired dog is a happy owner. Remember that. If they're asleep, they're not barking at your neighbors. They're not digging up your roses. They're not chewing your shoes. So the first step is always get them tired, physically, mentally, take that edge off. And then again, replace the bad habit with a good habit. If they're doing the right thing, they're not doing the wrong thing. So if they're chewing something, like if they steal your shoes and chew your shoes, what would you rather have them do? Chew their toys, usually, right? And I know I hear you're like, oh, my dog has a million toys and he doesn't play with any of them. Does food come in any of them? Do you feed him in his toys? Does he like his toys? And I'll do a whole nother thing on toys. Well, I have, watched some of my other stuff on toys. Toys are not all the same. Squeak toys are not something he should sit and chew on. It can be dangerous for them. So you want to give him toys that he can just sit and gnaw on and get that energy out. And also that boredom, giving him something to do. So if he's chewing your shoes, give him something better to chew. If he's digging up the roses, give him better something to do, like to chew. If he's digging up holes in the backyard, there's 3-4 different reasons they dig holes. Of course, it can be to get moisture out. It could be to dig up ants and bugs. They can dig warming and cooling pits to lie down in. But again, usually why they do any of the above is because they're bored. So, you could give them a digging pit, someplace where he can dig, teach him to dig in that, bury some toys in there, bury some treats, so that he enjoys digging in that area and not just randomly throughout your yard. Oh my gosh, my dog's all passed out on the floor. And you know what I'm going to say? This is like the number one thing. If they're working to get the food out of a Kong, they're not working your last nerve. Please remember that. And instead of you doling out treats, make the Kong do it. Shove some food in there, shove their meal in there. So they're busy working to get that out, and they're not canvassing the neighborhood for things to bark at. They're not digging up your roses. They're not doing 1,000,002 things if they're working on getting the food out of there. Now, caveat to that is you have to keep in mind we want to be preventive about this. We want to be preemptive. Don't wait for them to be barking and then shove a Kong in their face, because then what they learn is I bark, they give me a Kong, I'm going to go bark. Or I jump and then they give me a Kong. Or I don't know, I grab her shoes and she trades me a treat for it or something. So then what you're absolutely doing is reinforcing to your dog to do the stuff that you just don't want them to do. So it's really a 3-step process that we go through. But the most important one is to give them something better to do. If you don't want them to chew your shoes, they still got to chew. They're still bored. So give them something that they can chew. The problem with punishment training, well, there's a lot of problems with punishment training, but one of the problems is we're not getting to the root of the problem. So if we punish them for, say, barking, but they're still bored. Then they're going to start stealing your shoes. If we punish them for that, they're still bored. So that's when they're going to start digging up the roses. Or sometimes out of frustration, if we keep telling them, no, stop it, no, 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 which, I hate that word, no. If we keep telling them that, sometimes out of frustration, they start barking. And because they're frustrated, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? And the barking can lead to jumping because the dog is just frustrated. He doesn't know what you want him to do. So the easiest, most effective thing to do is just stop the madness. And instead of getting in that vicious cycle of, the dog barks and then I give him bone, then you're reinforcing the barking. Well, let's just stop the barking altogether, preemptively give him that bone or that stuffed Kong. So he's not looking at the window and barking at everything that goes by. Same thing when people come over. One of the easiest ways to get rid of a quote unquote greeting disorder is to redirect them into a Kong. Grab, somebody comes to the door, or you're expecting family or friends, and especially, if you're having a party or get to, remember when we used to have parties and people used to come over? Eventually we'll go back to that. But if somebody does come over, don't get in the hole. The dog's jumping all over them. And then they're like, stop it, stop it, stop it. And you're like, down, 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 sit, sit, sit. And the more energy you give off, the more excited your dog is going to get. So then the more he's jumping, the more excited he's getting. So let's just stop that altogether and grab a frozen Kong out of the freezer and give it to him. So now he's got chicken in here. So now he's off in the corner working this, and he could give two hoots about Aunt Sally or whoever just came over. Preemptively keep them busy, because one, it just stops the crazy. You don't have any crazy to deal with, which is good. The less crazy in my life, the better. But also we always run that risk of, if they're doing the behavior and then we give them something, that they can tie it together, that I do this behavior, I get that done. Dogs are really good at sequencing. That's why if they jump and you say sit, and they sit, and then you give them a treat, they're like, oh, it turns into a jump sit. It's like part of a sequence. So just watch what you're doing. And this is the hardest thing I'll tell you, because it's not so easy for us to be self-aware that your dog's behavior is in direct correlation to your behavior. They're getting some reward from you or somebody else, depending on the situation, of course. So if your dog jumps and you give them attention, even bad attention, stop it, sit, knock it off, da, 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 they still got your attention. And that's the trickiest part about all of this, is knowing that we're communicating what we actually want to be communicating to the dog, because it's so easy to miscommunicate with them, because what we think is punishing, they may actually find as rewarding. Telling them no, we're still giving them attention, and that may be worth doing the behavior for. If that makes sense. Everybody follow me with that logic. So whatever your dog is doing that's making you crazy, the first step is to stop and go, okay, what would I rather have them do at this time? And usually it's chew on a bone or lay down and be quiet. So set them up so that they're likely to do that by getting them a little bit tired, take the wind out of their sails, get them a little tired, and then settle them down. And instead of you doling out the treats, make a toy do it, whether it's the Kong or some other toy, stuffable toy that you can put food into, because an empty toy, they don't care about, but if it's got food in it, yeah. I always, if I handed you a Kong and I'm like, here, play with this, you'd be like, no. But if I put pennies in it, you'd be like, no. But if I put $100 bills in there, 20s, I don't know, we all have our price where we'd be willing to sit and work at it. Your dog is the same. So just a way to keep him occupied. Now, again, I love this because it's a way to keep him occupied in the house, in the backyard, in the car, when you're traveling with them at a restaurant, whatever the situation is, it's a way to keep your dog busy and occupied. And again, if they're working a Kong or another toy, I get no kickback from Kong. Kong is almost the generic stuffable toy. But if they're working that toy, they're not working your last nerve. Because again, the thing with punishment is if I punish them for this behavior, they're still bored. So now they're going to do this behavior. I punish for that behavior. Now they're going to do this behavior. It's just a cycle that happens. So stop the madness, stop the crazy, and go straight for what you want them to do. Especially if you have, a puppy or a rescue dog. They don't know anything. They don't know what they're supposed to do with themselves. And they're really just building those habits. So after a few times of actively teaching them to like the toy or actively stuffing it with something, then your dog learns to pick up the empty toy that doesn't have food in it. You'll see them pick it up and start to play with it. So they will get in the habit of occupying themselves. That's what we're going for. If they're busy working on that and occupying themselves, they're not coming at you. Look at me, pay attention to me. It's just like a toddler. Pay attention to me, entertain me. Da, 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 da. And if your response to that is to give them any sort of attention, congratulations, you just rewarded exactly what you don't want. Which again is the hardest thing, is for us to become self-aware of what we're actually reinforcing. It's so easy to blame the dog. But again, in any sort of therapy, the first thing is to take responsibility for your culpability in what's going on. And it's not always easy, but that's what I'm for, is to say, hey, by the way, this is what's going on. This is what you're doing right there. So if your dog is doing something that you don't like, barking, digging, chewing, jumping, replace the bad habit with a good habit. And that's what we mean by redirect. Redirect them into something that you would rather have them do, and then reward them for doing that. Okay. So while they're chewing the bone, oh, good job. Thank you. Praise, praise, praise. That's when you give him attention, not when he's jumping all over you. So, redirect if he's chewing, digging up the roses or whatever, redirect him, get him busy doing something else, and then reward him. That's something else. Instead of jumping, he's sitting, praise him while his butt's on the ground. The butt leaves the ground. So does your attention. Okay, so redirect and reward. Now, the caveat to that is you shoving food in his face to redirect him, because that's not sustainable, because then you'd always have to end up shoving food in his face. You want to put a word to it, look, chew toy, attention, whatever. Put a word to it. So then when he does what you want, that's what you're reinforcing, not just, shoving the food in his face. And again, so you don't even have to worry about that. It kind of does it automatically, is you shove some food in this bad boy. Okay. You shove some food in here, make this do all the work. Again, I'm lazy. Instead of doing 20 steps to make an old fashioned, I'm just going to take a shot of whiskey. I'm old fashioned. I'll take a shot. I'll take my whiskey on the rocks and I'm good. I'm very simple that way. I'm very simple, but always replacing that bad habit with a good habit is honestly the best thing that I can tell you. It sounds easy. It's simple. But the complications are that come with us humans. We overcomplicate it. And we think it shouldn't be that simple. we do like to complicate things, don't we? Humans are so stupid, unbelievably stupid. So yeah, redirect and reward. Okay, let me just take a quick look if anybody has some questions. Fantastic. Fantastic. Beautiful. Okay. Whoops. I'm frozen here. Okay, so am I still going? I just froze. My cameras do not like me. Okay, I guess it is cutting me off. If you can still see me, I don't know what. Okay, I hope you can see me. I don't know what happened. I am nothing but technical difficulties, so I guess I'm being shut off. If I talk too long, I guess my camera just shuts me off. This is becoming a trend. I wonder if it's an internet thing. My neighbors are working on their house. I wonder if we got shut off for a minute. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me, bearing with me, and go play with your dog. If you have questions, comments, please leave me one. Drop me a line. Let me know if you have suggestions for more information about another video or live stream I should do. Please let me know. And go stuff a Kong for your dog. Go redirect and go play with your dog. So anyway, thanks for hanging out and bearing with me, and go enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Okay, I hope you can see me. I don't know what happened. I am nothing but technical difficulties, so I guess I'm being shut off. If I talk too long, I guess my camera just shuts me off. This is becoming a trend. I wonder if it's an internet thing. My neighbors are working on their house. I wonder if we got shut off for a minute. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me, bearing with me, and go play with your dog. If you have questions, comments, please leave me one. Drop me a line. Let me know if you have suggestions for more information about another video or live stream I should do. Please let me know. And go stuff a Kong for your dog. Go redirect and go play with your dog. So anyway, thanks for hanging out and bearing with me, and go enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.